Hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to talk about briefs. Now, briefs are those mystical things, right, that you find everybody talking about. It's like the currency of the industry. Everybody's sending briefs and you're trying to get briefs, you're submitting your briefs and all of that good stuff. So I wanted to talk about that today. But it's not a typical talk about like metadata, which I've talked about. It's not a talk about what briefs are, though I will quickly describe that for those of you who don't know. This is different. This talks about something that doesn't really get talked about a lot, but is super, super important surrounding briefs. So if you don't know, a brief is basically a short description that a music supervisor sends out about their needs. So they've got these certain needs for the shows, movies, and ads that they're working on. And they send these little, usually written paragraphs, a few sentences out to their go-to people, right? They don't send them to the public because they'd be inundated with like millions of tracks. They can't possibly do that. If you ever see a brief floating out there in the public that doesn't come through some specific person, it's probably not real, or it's super old, or the ship has sailed, or whatever. So they're almost always come on the inside track to go to people that they have. Those include labels and publishers and agents and libraries, and of course singer-songwriter. And the people that submit to those are from those platforms. When people submit those briefs from those go-to people, they often add up to well over 1,000 tracks per brief. So a supervisor who puts a brief out to only their go-to people gets over 1,000 tracks, right? Of course, the number's different. I know supervisors who get inundated with a bunch of tracks. So they've got to go through all these tracks to figure out, they narrow it down, and finally one out of those 1,000 plus tracks gets selected, right? Now, the problem with that is obvious. You're playing a lottery, just even if you belong to a go-to person platform. And the other big problem is that even if you get a sync placement through them, you're usually paying half your money, and often some of your publishing, or you're locked into some contract for who knows how long, and that can be super problematic. Now, here's the thing that really matters about briefs: relationships. So you want to pair relationships with the briefs. That means knowing the supervisor who's sending out the briefs so that you're not getting them through a middle person. So you're not stuck competing against all these tracks in this platform you're on, let alone against all the other platforms. You want to know the supervisor directly. You want them to know you personally. And then when they have a brief, they can send that directly to you. You can send your track directly to them. And that is how you get way, way, way more attention. Your chances of getting placed are way, way higher doing that. Now, beyond that, this is an important thing to know. A ton of sync placements happen without briefs. So that means that the supervisors, it's much easier for them to select a song from someone they know, get on a call with somebody, make a phone call, and especially go through their own little library. All of them have some system that they take all their favorite songs from their favorite artists or favorite platforms or whatever. They put them into a folder on the desktop. They put them into, could be disco, could be even iTunes. Some of them you still use iTunes. And they go through that first. It's way easier than sending a brief out and vetting all of these songs they get back. So if you know the supervisor, you end up in their private little library. And I don't know how many times we've gotten placements at singer-songwriter where, somebody was either talking to them, gave them a song or whatever, and months went by, and then they got a placement. And I have a great example. It's been the best example so far in singer-songwriter. We found out just last week that one of our members got a song into the trailer. It's the song for the trailer of a major Netflix show. So that's going to be huge for them. Every time the show plays, the trailer's going to be running and all that stuff. And that pitch that they did happened in February 2024. Okay, so that's abnormal. That's over a year ago, right? It shows how important the relationship is, and that's why I brought that up. So when you're thinking about briefs, right, often to get briefs, you're either paying for the briefs, you're sending money off to someone to get briefs, But the bottom line is typically you're stuck behind a paywall. There's a gatekeeper between you and the supervisors, who are the people who place the music, and you're just a number, right? Or you're a track name. And you don't develop those relationships. The middleman develops those relationships, So you want to think about getting your own relationships, which is really important. And that's how you make briefs work for you, besides the fact that so many placements happen without briefs in the first place. But they all happen, brief or not, through relationships. So think about that. That's why we specialize in that at Sing Songwriter. If you're talking about briefs, consider how to build relationships. So leave me a comment below. I read every single one. I respond to them all. And let me know, have you been struggling with briefs? Are you hoping to get relationships? Have you been sitting in a library or an agency or some other platform? There's so many of them out there. They keep popping up every day. Are you on something like that and you're just wondering, like, how am I ever going to get heard? Or even if I do get heard, I have to give half my money in my publishing away, or I'm locked into a big contract for years sometimes, right? Or have you been working on getting relationships, to get that 1-2 punch that works so incredibly well? So love to hear from you. Love to hear what your story is. Leave me a comment and I'll see you there.